USA took on England in their semifinal game of the Women's World Cup to determine who was going to be in the final. Um, this was a really good game, in my opinion. I felt like it was very competitive on both sides. It wasn't really just USA being offensive and being a greater opponent than England. For me, it was really evenly matched throughout most of the game. There was like the few instances where like the quality was a little bit different, where USA had those players that just have that technique, that ability to be difference makers in these games, and that's just what put them on through. And basically, these last three games, that's what's been pulling them through these tough matches, because these aren't easy matches. And if they win this, for me, without a doubt, there's no question that USA is the best women's team in the world, because they've faced the hardest teams and they've been getting the result. I know it's been 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, but you face Spain and you beat them. Even though it was by penalties, you still beat them. You have to make those. Megan Rapinoe was there and she made them. You beat France in their house, and you beat them in a very convincing way with two goals from Rapinoe as well. And then you just beat England, and they're a good team on the come up, in my opinion, that have been doing the stuff really good, that have been playing well as also, and there's just more merit, USA has been in it. They've been through this for a long time. I felt like that was another factor that is not really taken into account. That USA, their experience, the girls having been playing with each other, having an identity already established on the team, having the quality already identified, and then anybody that doesn't meet that quality can't be in the national team. And like I said before, like having that standard, having that quality, having that identity just helps them to be as best they can, and other other teams are really trying to catch up. And they really are. They really have, because like you can see the quality in the women's game now. A lot of the European teams are like the only ones left. The only one that wasn't European was USA, but they've been miles ahead of everybody for quite a while now. But I don't think it's gonna be the case the next World Cup. Not saying that USA is not gonna be the best or not gonna win, but I feel that now that these European teams already have established women's leagues and a lot of the contracts, things like that, just like in the men's game, the European teams are starting to give women higher wages, higher exposure, more advertising. When they launch new kits, the women players are also in the kit launches as well, and it's changing. The landscape is changing, um, and it's good for women's football in general. In the game, like I said, these English players, the girls, they've been really good. Ellen White has been really good. She tied Megan Rapinoe and who was it? Alex Morgan in goals, and they're tied off for the Golden Boot. They all have 6 goals, and they took one away from her, which I felt like was kind of mean, but I guess it was offsides and VAR was involved and whatever. But it doesn't matter. England had the chance as well later in the match to actually tie the game 2-2 and maybe go into extra time. But like I said, they've been failing at penalties. I think they had Nikita Alex or something, or Nikita Scott is her name. I'm not so sure, but the number 7 on England's team, she's basically been taking the penalties for I don't know how many matches, and I think even in this World Cup, she's also missed like 2 of them already. So they put someone new. She doesn't know that pressure, the pressure of missing, the pressure of having to make it just so the team can continue. And I feel like some of the people didn't take that into account, because if they had the right player, if they had someone that was ready to score and ready to do what they had to do and just be confident in themselves to score the penalty and to practice it to the greatest of effect, they could have been actually through. Maybe I don't know. The just with the calls, with the penalty, with the offsides call, it just kind of messed up the English players, the women. They basically got a red card towards the second half. I think her name was Bright who got the red card, and that basically changed the face of England team. They tried to go on the attack, but USA having greater experience, having gone through these instances, having won a World Cup, having won multiple World Cups as well. They just their dominance to lead, or not to lead, but to manage a game is really, it's way over England's. And as time was going on, the American women were trying to waste time for like, since I don't know, the 78th minute around there, when like the penalty call was called and all that, and they were trying to waste time, and they were doing it. They were getting the ball, and they were not letting England get out their own half. As England got the ball back, they would just kick it way down half field, and as well, the Americans would gain possession again and then hold up the play with Alex Morgan, with Crystal Dunn, with Christian Press, whoever had the ball, they were just holding up the play. With Carly Lloyd when she came in as well, she was pretty she was pretty involved as well. Like I said, and just having that experience, having that exposure, knowing, having gone through these instances, just it just shows, it shows the dominance. England was really close. England was really competitive. It wasn't an easy match for USA, like maybe some of the other matches were. The last two haven't even been easy as well. The French game, probably out of all three of these big major teams, Spain, France, and England, I feel like France was probably the least equipped team, and that really didn't show that much quality. I feel like Spain actually pushed it to USA because they got the goal way early before USA could even do anything, and because of penalty calls and just just little mistakes in the box that the Spanish girl players made, they basically lost, and they were looking pretty offensive once they scored that second goal. But like I said, the one that I saw most competitive, the one that I saw most close to USA, the one that almost had that chance of actually tying with them and maybe taking them to that extra time or whatever, because everybody was giving it to France, but for me, France didn't really have that quality that everybody says. And like I said before, my dad said that they should have been put on the other side of the bracket. But for me, England was the one to look at, because they were third in the past World Cup, and they're probably gonna get third in this World Cup. But the quality is there, Like I said, the goalie, props to her from USA. I know it's not Hope Solo. I know it's not the one that everybody knows, but she's making a name for herself and blocking those penalties, being clinical in these instances where you have to be clinical. That's good for her. That's good for the confidence that her teammates also show towards her, and it just gives good confidence for the coach as well. And I know England is sad they were knocked out of the World Cup, but like it is progress. Maybe it's probably the same as it was the last World Cup, but just knowing that they faced the best team and they didn't lose like in a super bad result, or that they actually pushed them to the limit to get those goals and things like that. I feel like it is progression. They're probably gonna get third place. I hope they do. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be contenders. Maybe the next World Cup. I don't know. The English league for women is really growing. You can see the quality. A lot of the women players that are in the English league are stars. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna grow a lot. And with Real Madrid also announcing that they want to start a women's league or a women's team, and they're willing to fork out, I don't know how much money for the best players in women's game. It's just gonna create more competition. Creating more competition just creates better players, and that is just gonna help push the women's game in a better direction and also give it the exposure it needs. And then maybe people will care about, I don't know, maybe not the World Cup, but they already do care about the World Cup. But that's the biggest arena or the biggest stage for women's sports in soccer or in football. But like I said, if they give this exposure, maybe the Champions League can be as lucrative and monetary as it is in the men's game, and people might actually start to watch that. Barcelona's made their team since like 2016. They got to the final for the first time this year as well. And you can see that progression as well. And England just has to look up. They're gonna be up there. I'm pretty sure. Like they have quality players. They just weren't. They just didn't have that instance. They didn't have that experience. But just this right now, facing probably the eventual champions, this is gonna help them to push towards that block or just push towards that instance, that stage, that final. And it's good to see that as well as the men's game has increased and its quality is also good, the women's game has also increased. But I'm pretty sure these two are going to be battling out for quite a long time. For me, I see England being up there in the likes of USA. USA has got the best quality for sure, hands down. But like I said, other leagues are catching up. The Italian league and women's football as well has also started maybe a year ago or maybe this year as well. And even the Brazilian league as well for women. It's just they're creating more awareness and there's gonna be more competition now. The World Cup won't be so one sided. Maybe in certain instances it will with like maybe like the Thailand USA. You saw the gap there in quality and experience and just talent and just natural ability. But like I said, it's in progression. USA is probably going to be dominating for quite a while. And while they have their identity, like I said, and that's just something that you can't take away because once you have that, everybody has to fall into that standard. And the ones that don't, they just don't make it. And that's just that simple. And that's what's just giving them all this success. And they're probably going to win the World Cup. I don't know. I may make a video on that. But this is just what I got to say about this match. It was a really entertaining match, and you should probably look at the highlights. Maybe look forward to the final. It'll probably be a really good game. But this is just all I got to say about it. I hope y'all like the video. I hope y'all subscribe to the channel. And I'll just keep y'all posted on other matches.